Welcome to the first edition of Tar Takes, the sports debate show run by Tar Heel students, presented by Relevant and the JR Report. Let's dig in with our first Tar Take. LeBron James is down one game to the Indiana Pacers after a 98-80 loss in Game 1 on Sunday. This is the same Pacers team that lost Paul George to the Oklahoma City Thunder this offseason and replaced him with Victor Oladipo. While the point of this is not to say LeBron is going to lose to the Pacers, I would be shocked if he did, it is about the reaction that follows LeBron after every game. There seems to be two scenarios. How did LeBron win with that supporting cast? Or LeBron needs more help to win. As the media, can we decide, does LeBron have enough help or not? Yes, before he moved to Miami, he didn't have the necessary help, and it was obvious. His 2007 NBA Finals team started Sacha Killeya-Jones, Drew Gooden, Larry Hughes, and Zydrunas Ilgauskas. There is no denying that it was not a great lineup, but it seems we have been unable to separate his early part of his career from the post-decision era, which is truly the part of his career which matters most and impacts his legacy the greatest. In Miami, James had the opportunity to play with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, probably two future Hall of Famers. And he had a big three in a time where big threes weren't a thing. Yes, there was the Boston Big Three, but they were past their prime of their careers. In Miami, all three superstars were in the middle of their prime of their careers. It was nothing like we have seen before, and that has since become the model in the NBA with the Rockets, the Warriors, what the Celtics are trying to build with Gordon Hayward, Al Horford, and Kyrie Irving, and what the Timberwolves are trying to build with Wiggins, Towns, and Jimmy Butler. It was also what the Cavs had in the past with Kevin Love, Kyrie Irving, and LeBron James. Since the Big Three has become a trend that was started by LeBron, he has always had two other superstars until this season. But it's not like Cleveland couldn't have had one. They had Isaiah Thomas, Kevin Love, and LeBron James going into this season. It just didn't work out. It's not like every other superstar in NBA history has always had the perfect team around him. But it seems like we expect that with all of LeBron's teams. James has had extraordinary talent around him ever since he departed for Miami. And he's gotten to the finals every single year. But the one year his team doesn't have three superstars, there is no help. Even the last few seasons, which still had Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving, the theme has still been the same. And this year, the team still has Kevin Love and great depth led by J.R. Smith, Rodney Hood, George Hill, Kyle Korver, Jordan Clarkson, and Larry Nance. So what is it? Does LeBron James have help or not? It's not like any other superstar had a championship caliber team around him for his entire career. So let's just look at it for what it is. LeBron has had enough talent around him, sometimes more than other years, and this is a year where it is less. But it still falls on LeBron James. He built this roster. It's LeBron James's team. The team will win, and it will lose because of LeBron. Whether that is fair or not, that is the way it will be. None of this nonsense about whether his supporting cast is good enough. He created the trend of super teams in the NBA. Okay, moving on from LeBron James, the Pacers are up 1-0 in the series of round 1 of the 2018 NBA playoffs. Do the Pacers have an actual chance to beat LeBron James and the Cavaliers?
You know what? I think the Pacers actually do have a chance. To say that they don't have a chance is ignoring the spirit of competition. We all know what Victor Oladipo is capable of. We all know Miles Turner is an up-and-coming talent. Domantas Sabonis was a great pickup for that team. And Lance Stevenson always plays up to not to LeBron's level, but he always ups his level whenever he plays against LeBron. So I think they definitely have a chance. However, I'm still going to have to take Cleveland in this series simply because of the fact I don't think LeBron's going to let himself get knocked out in the first round to a team that isn't top 2 seed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the Pacers really have any realistic chance of winning. LeBron's still the triple-double in Game 1. He's still LeBron James. There's no beating LeBron James. He's won 21 straight first-round playoff games. He's not going to lose another. He's won 21 straight. He wins in the first round. He moves on. He usually does it in a sweep. This time it's going to take 5 games. If you go look at Vegas, Cleveland still is minus 240 to win. So they're still huge favorites against Indiana. I also think LeBron came in sort of passive. He mentioned in the media that he's going to take a different approach in Game 2. He needs to come out strong. I think if LeBron doesn't come out strong, then that's going to be a big issue with him. If he doesn't come out strong, come out aggressive, then they could lose the series, but I doubt that's going to happen. It really depends on LeBron James. If he wants them to win the series, he'll take over the game, and there's no one on Indiana that can possibly stop him. It's not like Victor Oladipo is going to be able to compete with LeBron James. They don't have any other stars. Cleveland still has Kevin Love. LeBron still had a triple-double in Game 1. Last time he lost Game 1, I don't have the stats up right here, but he always bounces back in dominant fashion. He doesn't lose 2 games in a row. I completely expect the same thing to happen in Game 2 through Game 5.
Okay. I think saying that Indiana doesn't have any other stars, I mean, that's a decent assessment based off of talent-wise that we've seen throughout the year compared to the potential that we see in the Cavaliers. However, I think it's incredibly disrespectful to not even consider Domantas Sabonis and Miles Turner and the fact that they make a difference, because we all know playoff LeBron is going to back you down in the post and he's going to try and out-physical you. But you see Domantas Sabonis adds that physical factor, and Miles Turner are both physical factors to where they were able to deter LeBron in the paint. See, LeBron wasn't dominant in the paint like he usually is. And if LeBron can't be dominant in the playoffs, he's going to struggle a little bit. You see his 3 wasn't falling. He was missing his layups inside, and he wasn't able to get his own putback. So he was struggling a little bit on the inside. And not to mention the fact of the matter that Lance Stevenson is here to play. Lance Stevenson's here to play, and he's not going to back down from the competition. And he was starting to get under LeBron's wing a little bit during that game. So I think to say that I think it is a good assessment to say, LeBron's still going to be dominant LeBron, and I still think that they're going to win this series, but I think it's going to be much closer than what we thought.
I mean, to say that Domantas Sabonis is an all-star is absolutely absurd. He had 4 points.
Okay, I didn't
he
say
had
he's
4
an
points in
all-star.
Game 1. 4 points in Game 1. Lance Stevenson had 12 points, no assists. The only player that had a good game was Miles Turner, who had 16 points and 8 rebounds in 34 minutes.
But you can't deny the impact that they had on the inside. I mean, Domantas Sabonis didn't have a good offensive game, but still, he's on the inside. He's still banging out in the paint. You've got big bodies. Domantas Sabonis, 6'11". Miles Turner, he's 7 foot. So they're banging around in the paint. LeBron's not going to be able to just get all of his misses. So I think I'm not stupid. I'm not saying that Domantas Sabonis is an all-star. Like, he's not. He may get to that level later on in his career. I'm just saying that he is a valuable role player that should be on watch in this series.
I don't know. I mean, it's not like Victor Oladipo is some superstar. I mean, Bojan Bogdanovic is the second leading scorer from the regular season, averaging 14.3 points per game.
Okay.
Is that number 2 going to be able to compete with Cleveland? I mean, Kevin Love is still a lot better.
What did Kevin Love have? Kevin Love didn't even have double digits. He had 17
That's
rebounds.
one game. They had a bad game. They had one game and they lost by 18 points.
No. Look at the rest of the Cleveland Cavaliers roster, okay? We've got LeBron with 24 points. Who's the next one in double digits? J.R. Smith had 15 on 6 of 11. That's a decent game
But Kevin
for
Love
JR.
had 17 rebounds.
And
He
Larry,
still had a big
Larry
impact
Nance
on
is
the
your
game.
third leading scorer. Why is Larry
But
Nance
that's the
third
bad
leading
game that they
scorer?
lost by 18. LeBron also only had 24. He's going to get at least 34 in Game 2.
I'm not going to
34 points.
But I think if Larry Nance is your third leading scorer with only 10 points, you can't say that they are light years ahead in talent compared to the Pacers. I think they have a
Dude,
talent
they have
edge.
a proven all-star in Kevin Love, a proven superstar in LeBron James. J.R. Smith has won championships.
Overall,
J.R. Smith has won championships with the team. Who Victor Oladipo couldn't do
J.R.
anything
Smith didn't
on a
even
good
average
team when he
double
had
digits
Russell
this year.
Westbrook. Miles Turner hasn't done anything. Sabonis hasn't done anything. Same with Bojan
This whole
Bogdanovic.
season-
Thaddeus Young has been on crappy teams his entire career.
I think we also need
Lance
to take into
Stevenson?
account. We need to take into account coaching. Okay.
How long will Lance
We
Stevenson's
need to
act?
take into account
And-
coaching.
Well, LeBron James is the coach.
Well, yeah, and he's not as good of a coach as the Pacers coach. The Pacers coach took a team that lost Paul George. You said yourself to a 48-34 record.
But there's still a difference between the regular season and postseason.
I'm not
How come
denying that.
Atlanta never
I'm
won
not-
in the past few years?
Okay, Atlanta had a 60-win team. Don't even.
Yeah.
That's an open
They-
loop.
that's-
We had a 60-win
that's-
team. We got to the Eastern
They were a
Conference
regular
Finals.
season team just like the Pacers.
The only reason we didn't. LeBron had his crew back then. LeBron doesn't have his crew now. We were a 60-win team back then.
Whatever. All right, let's move on. Let's stay in the NBA. Let's talk about Chris Paul and the Rockets. They still won. They beat Houston in Game 1, but Chris Paul only had 14 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists. He also had 6 turnovers. With about 20 seconds left in the game, he also threw the ball out of bounds. Almost cost them the game. Minnesota did not hit a three-pointer to tie, but it came close at the end of Game 1. Should the Rockets be worried about CP3's play, and could that pose problems in the future of the playoffs?
No. I think the bad luck that Chris Paul's had in the playoffs has been just that. I think it's been a lot of bad luck. Yeah, he that Thunder game where he overthrew the ball gave them that win that basically ended the series for them. I think that was a mistake that's going to fall Chris Paul, but we can't ignore the fact that the Clippers, every time they went to the playoffs, it was just a stroke. There was like a black cloud over them every time they would enter. Someone would get hurt. It would be Blake Griffin, or it would be Chris Paul, or it would be DeAndre. It'd just be somebody. Somebody would fall out of the picture because of injury, and it would derail them. So I think, and I still think Chris Paul, yeah, he had a subpar game. He's -4. I think it still shouldn't be too worrisome about it. I think he's just shaking out the yips right now. And also, if you have a guy like James Harden dropping 44, I think you're worried about Chris Paul, but I think you're still a little bit more secure knowing that, like, Chris Paul has a little bit of a crutch to fall onto. So I think Chris Paul is going to come back out. I think he's going to have a good game. I think he's going to drop 20 and 11 next game. I think he's going to have a good game coming in versus Timberwolves team. But also we have to take into account that this Timberwolves team isn't an 8 seed. They're not an 8 seed. They're an 8 seed only in statistical standings-wise. Jimmy Butler missed that last third of the season. They should be a 3 or 4 seed.
Yeah, I have to disagree with you on this one. I think it is worrisome. I think if you didn't have Chris Paul, James Harden, and Mike D'Antoni on the same team, then you just say, hey, it's just one game. But Chris Paul has proven he's never made it to a Western Conference Finals in his career. D'Antoni's never made it to an NBA Finals. Harden made it to one NBA Finals with OKC, but he hasn't made it back with the Rockets. Game 6 against the Spurs last year, he had a plus-minus of a -28 in Game 6. It's an elimination game. He had 10 points. He shot 2 of 11. So Harden has his issues. D'Antoni, everyone knows his issues with the Suns. He couldn't get past anyone. He was always the top team in the regular season, and he would get to the playoffs and he would lose. Same with Chris Paul. I mean, the Clippers have been a top team in the NBA the past few years, and every time they get into the playoffs, they find a way to blow it. I believe it was a few years ago that they blew it against Houston, too. I think they had like a 20-something point game, and it was a Game 5 or Game 6. They blew that game and ended up losing the entire series. So I think there are a lot of issues. I do think Houston is very lucky that Chris Paul had a terrible game, had a lot of turnovers late. But thank God, James Harden had 44 points, 8 assists, and 4 rebounds. I mean, I don't think Harden is going to choke. Harden is playing like an MVP in the playoffs. He has played like that in the regular season. He is the team, but I do think it's worrisome about Chris Paul. They might get by Minnesota with Harden playing well and Chris Paul not playing like this, but against a Golden State team, that you can't have Chris Paul having 14 points and 4 assists. You need Harden averaging 30. You need Chris Paul averaging 20 and 10. You need them to be playing well down the stretch, and you need them to have the confidence. They did get the win, but it might be in the back of Chris Paul's head next time it is a close game.
I'm not going to disagree with you. If they were playing the Warriors, a healthy Warriors with Steph Curry, then I want Chris Paul at least dropping 20 and 10 a game if you're in the playoff series. I'm not going to dispute that. But we also need to look at the fact that this is a different Houston team. This is
How is it a different Houston? They've won one playoff game. You can't say it's a different Houston team.
This is a very different Houston team. They didn't have Chris Paul last year.
But they still only won one playoff
last
game.
year, and you see D'Antoni. D'Antoni would be my coach of the year. Debated between Dwayne Casey. He's in that top 4 or 5 competing for coach of the year. And I think now we say, Harden, he has issues in the playoffs. D'Antoni, he has issues in the playoffs. Chris Paul, he has issues in the playoffs. But now they are able to come together. I think that now this team is much better. Everyone on the floor for the Rockets can shoot. Every single person. The only person who isn't shooting is Clint Capella or Nene. And then Nene and Clint Capella are physically dominating down low to get your rebounds. I think this team, and we also have to look back on the playoff round last year where the Rockets were playing the San Antonio Spurs with Kawhi Leonard healthy. All right, Kawhi Leonard's top 3 when he's healthy, in my opinion. He's top 3 in the league. It's LeBron, KD, Kawhi. All right? And if you have Kawhi Leonard, who's arguably, when he's healthy, the best two-way player in the game,
but
they took them to 6 games.
10 points,
but this Rockets team didn't have the weapons that they have now. This is a different look.
The only difference is Chris Paul. And Chris Paul has never shown that he can be an...
Yeah, Chris Paul's only the person that took a Charlotte Hornets team to the playoffs.
And what did they do in the playoffs?
Played the Lakers.
And they would lose.
The Lakers?
And they would lose.
They're going to lose to the Lakers. The Lakers won.
But, I mean, this team isn't going to be defined by if they win against Minnesota or they win next round. Are they going to beat the Warriors? And if they do beat the Warriors, can they win an NBA Finals?
Yes,
That's the only difference.
I agree.
Nothing on the Rockets has ever shown to you that they can win an NBA Finals.
Yes, okay. All right. All right. What we've seen, I'm not saying that it is definite, but what we've seen this season and what they've shown, they were the top team at the Western Conference. Yes, of course, I mean, the Warriors had injuries to Steph Curry, but they were ahead of them even when Steph Curry was healthy. And I think to say that that's not enough to argue that they are championship contenders already, like top 2 already for in the conversation to winning the finals, is a disrespect to them. And I think the fact of the matter is James Harden, he's our MVP, but Chris Paul, he's also there, and we've seen that Chris Paul makes a difference whenever he's on the floor with them. Chris Paul, Clint Capella, James Harden are 36, 37, and 2 when all of them are healthy. So you can't tell me that Chris Paul isn't that big enough of a factor to say that this could be their year.
I mean, I don't know. Still 1-0. Don't have a lot of playoff experience. We will have to see. Personally, I think they'll get. But the Timberwolves are a tough team. I picked the Timberwolves.
I think if they get past the Timberwolves, the Rockets.
I mean, they'll win round 2.
They're gonna have the momentum on their side.
I don't know if they catch OKC. Who knows what Westbrook could do? Put some pressure on them.
I'm looking forward to that series.
Okay, let's move on to the college basketball world. The Tar Heels, both of us Tar Heel students, always try and put up a UNC segment once a week. So the biggest news recently has been in the transfer world. UNC not normally known for taking transfers. Last year they did get Cam Johnson, but that's a rare occasion. So Sacha Killeya-Jones, who's actually from Chapel Hill, North Carolina, a 5-star prospect, was number 23 in the country going into college, played 2 seasons at Kentucky, only averaged 2.7 points per game and 3.3 points per game in his 2 seasons. He is now transferring, and UNC is on his list. Should UNC pursue Killeya-Jones?
I mean, no disrespect to Killeya-Jones, but if you're only averaging 3 points on an already pretty dismal Kentucky team, even though they performed well in the playoffs, they should have gone to the Final Four. They had the easiest track to the Final Four I've ever seen. and the only person that was in their way was an 11 seed. They didn't even lose to the 11 seed. They lost to Kansas State, who didn't even have their top scorer. I think, no disrespect to him, but I don't think we should waste our time because we have the 2019 recruitment class. Where you see all the top 5, James Wiseman, Vernon Casey, these guys, all top 5 of them are centers or power forwards. We need to look to the future and look at those guys. Because if Carolina wants to contend for another championship, we need a powerful post presence. And I don't know if Killeya-Jones is the answer to our post issues.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. I think North Carolina definitely needs a post presence, and that's why they should go after Killeya-Jones. He's 6'10", 220 pounds. He was a 5-star recruit at some point, so the talent doesn't just disappear. The talent is always there. It's just, and whatever the reason, it is a little worrisome that he only averaged about 3 points a game and 3 rebounds this year and only played just under 14 minutes. But there is a lot of talent with John Calipari. There's always been a lot of talent with Kentucky. So I think UNC should take the chance on him. He won't play next year, so he wouldn't be available in 2019, but ideally you'd get him for 2019 and you would get him for 2020. I mean, you can look on the roster. There's not a big man that's going to be as talented as Killeya-Jones. Luke May is our most talented big man. He couldn't jump over a penny. I mean, the guy just sits out and he shoots. Luke May is not an athletic guy. He struggled against Marvin Bagley.
Anytime Luke May would go up against a dominant or a top tier big man, he would struggle. And we saw he did really well against teams that were less dominant in the front court. But I think the fact that if we tried to pursue him, how many people do we have on the roster that are big? We have Garrison. We have Sterling Manley. We have a
lot of freshmen. We have Brooks, Manley. We have Walker Miller. So there's a lot of freshmen who are 6'10" and above, but they've all been inconsistent.
But do we? All right. But do
and there's Brandon Huffman as well. But yeah, I don't think he'll be a factor.
Focus more. Since we're not even going to get him this year, we might as well just focus more on recruiting hard in this 2019 draft recruitment class with a lot of talent in the front court. All the top 5 players are power forwards or centers. I think Carolina needs to look to those guys. We need to focus on that area. Killeya-Jones has had the opportunity. It's not like he didn't get any play time. This past season, he averaged 14 minutes a game, and he only produced 3 points a game. I mean, he wasn't a top offensive option.
You say get other prospects, but we haven't been able to get any prospects because of the investigation. I mean, the top 5 prospects, none of them are going to UNC. Barrett. I mean, we lost out on Zion Williamson to Duke, right? We've lost out on so many top.
Losing out on Zion. See, Zion's not versatile.
We lost out on E.J. Montgomery to Kentucky. I mean, we've constantly lost out on the top prospects. Whatever the reason is, that's just the fact. We haven't been able to get top prospects. We have one now who's a former 5-star recruit. Whatever the reason, he didn't play well at Kentucky. He might come here and he might give us 3 points a game. Or he might come here with a year off. He can bulk up, and maybe he'll average 12 and 10. It's not like Roy Williams has, not been able to use big man. Our best teams have been when we've had big man with Kennedy Meeks, Zeller, whoever.
I mean, Roy, recruiting has never been at the forefront of Carolina's mindset because Roy recruits according to who's going to fit his system. And I think, but I don't know how Killeya-Jones would fit in the system because Roy likes to have that big muscular guy down in the paint.
Yeah, but
Killeya-Jones isn't that big. He's a very slight 6'10". He's only 220.
Yeah, but I mean, he would have a year off though to bulk up.
He will have a year off.
I mean, he found out a way to make Bryce Johnson work. Isaiah Hicks. I mean, there's always John Henson. There's always been tall guys that have worked. There's been the more bulky guy, but I feel like in general, the tall, lanky guy has worked for UNC. I think there's Brandon Wright over a decade ago. There's a lot of guys.
Was big.
Yeah, he's Killeya-Jones, 6'10". 220's a little risky, but I mean, John Henson was probably 6'10", 185 when he came in.
I'm looking here.
Bryce Johnson? Bryce Johnson is not 220
Jr.,
pounds.
Center, 6'10", 259. I'm looking at
and do we really have a chance? I mean, look, there's James Wiseman. I mean, but Roy should know. I mean, look, Wiseman, UNC near the bottom of the list. He's not going to go to UNC. The top recruits, they haven't come to North Carolina. So when we have an opportunity to take a 5-star, we should take advantage of that. And we've also seen a lot of players play greater than what they are when they come to North Carolina. Joel Berry shouldn't have been as good as he is. Justin Jackson shouldn't have been. Kennedy Meeks. I mean, a lot of these guys, even I think Theo was a little, poor to begin with in his career, but this past senior year, he really played better than anyone could have imagined.
I think if we do go for Killeya-Jones, I have no doubt that Roy's going to find a way to fit them into the system. If we can get after him, I think, you know what, we might as well take a risk. But we should focus on trying to get some of these recruits in this 2019 recruiting class.
Okay, let's move from the college basketball world into the PGA Tour. Most recently, Patrick Reed won the Masters 2 weekends ago, but I guess it was about a week and a half ago, but he hasn't taken off his green jacket yet. There's been videos of him driving through drive-throughs with the green jacket. He was at the Rockets game on Sunday wearing the green jacket. He's been parading it around, and just at what point is it too late to wear the green jacket, and should we like Patrick Reed?
All right, listen to the argument right here. Patrick Reed seems like kind of a cock to me. I mean, what are you doing wearing a fucking green jacket on the side of an NBA basketball game? You're at a basketball game and you're still showcasing how low your balls hang. I mean, come on, man. I don't know the guy personally. I don't know Patrick Reed, but I've been hearing things about how he's saying that his family abused him, but really he just ditched them and he's found his new family now, and now he's shitting on his old family. Didn't even invite his family to the Masters. He didn't even so much as extend an invite. So I think it's safe to say that Patrick Reed is kind of a dick.
I mean, I completely agree. I mean, his family, he grew up near Augusta, and he's about to win the Masters, the biggest golf tournament in the world. I mean, it's by far. Everyone tunes in to watch. Even if you're not a golf fan, you're tuning in to watch on Sunday.
I don't watch golf. I watch the Masters.
Yeah, and the parents are miles away. Literally less than 10 miles away, and they're crying because Patrick Reed won the Masters and he won't let them in. In 2015, ESPN polled PGA Tour players. He was voted as the second most disliked man. He was kicked out of the University of Georgia. It's sort of unclear what happened, but one thing that is clear, if you read the internet, his teammates did not like him. His teammates didn't like him when he moved to, I think it was Augusta State. The best player, I don't remember his name, but you can look it up. He hated Patrick Reed so much, and that fostered a huge competition between them. They actually ended up winning the national championship at a small school in Augusta. But there's no denying that Patrick Reed is an asshole. He's literally been an asshole everywhere he goes, and I think that's part of it. You sort of see it with Tiger Woods, this sort of asshole vibe that helps you win, but Patrick Reed seemed to just take it too far, and we get it. He won the Masters. That's a great deal, and I don't have an issue with him wearing it to the Rockets game. I think that's a public place. And it's only a week after, but the videos of him going through the drive-thru, there's no one there. There's no paparazzi at the drive-thru ready to take your photo with you wearing the green jacket. That had to have been released because he wanted it to be released, and that's what I don't like about Patrick Reed. Just be humble.
I think that
right?
might be somewhat of it might be an exaggeration. I mean, if I won the Super Bowl, or if I won the NBA Finals, I'm wearing my Finals cap, I'm wearing my ring everywhere I'm going. I mean, this guy, he's in the moment. He just won the Masters, like you said.
But the moment isn't 7 days later.
It is, but it's still the biggest tournament in golf, and he's still got another 365 days.
No, I mean, I get that. I get it's a big moment, and I think, by all means, wear it around the house. But just as an athlete, when you're in the spotlight for as long as you are, when the cameras are around.
I think it lacks decorum. I think it very much lacks decorum.
Yeah, I mean, also he after he won just 3 PGA Tour events in 2014, he said that he is a top 5 player in the world. I mean, sort of absurd, especially considering he didn't win a major for 4 more years and he called himself a top 5 player. think there's arrogance, and it's obvious that when people interact with him, they really don't like him. And I sort of feel bad because I didn't know this about Patrick Reed when he was winning on Sunday. And I was sort of rooting for the guy until I read all of this Monday morning and realized this guy's a complete dick, and I just wish I didn't root for him to win. Like, he's a complete asshole of golf.
He's saying he's a top 5 player in the world. I mean, we always like the guy. Well, we as spectators like people who are confident in themselves, who can show that they can give results. I mean, Tiger in the sense of the matter that he wasn't an asshole per se, but he was just so damn good that it was just
I think
deny his greatness. But like Patrick Reed, I don't know if he has the place to not say he's a tough, because he did just win.
Yeah, but this is also
he
said
just
this
beat
4
Jordan
years
Spieth
before.
after Jordan Spieth had tied for one of the most historic.
Yeah, but he had the 7-shot lead on Jordan Spieth going into the day.
He still won.
I mean, yeah, no, he won. He also beat out Ricky. He won the match. There's no denying how good Patrick Reed is at golf. The question at hand is, how big of an asshole is this guy? Like, he's great at golf. He's also a great asshole.
Very big asshole.
I mean, there's also a story of him cheating in college, and all his teammates knew it. They confronted him, and he denied it. And then there's also a story of where Henrik Stenson is told that Patrick Reed put him as one of his friends, and Henrik Stenson responded by saying, that's sort of weird. Like, I've only played one practice round with him. If you think that's enough to be friends, then go for it. But it's sort of a weird situation. Patrick Reed, no one likes him. He thinks friends are his friends that aren't his friends, and I guess he wins. But one thing's for sure. I mean, I hope you think this too, but I won't be rooting for Patrick Reed ever again.
I mean, I don't see what too big of an issue here. I know Patrick Reed. I mean, this is golf. This isn't a team sport. He doesn't have to worry about handling anybody else. I mean, it's fucking golf.
But that's not an excuse to be a dick.
So people are dicks all the time. I don't know if this is just I don't know if this is like that big of an issue though. All right, he's a douche. Does it?
But
a
cheater?
Are we gonna say that
a person who has left his family?
Kobe cheated on his wife. I mean, I don't see what.
But we're talking about this is cheating in a golf tournament. I mean, it's obviously to say cheating in a golf tournament is not as bad as cheating on your wife, but in the sport of golf, golf is a gentleman's game. Yeah. You can't be caught cheating. That never happens. You never hear of people cheating, and here is Patrick Reed, and it's not just cheating alone. It's not one thing alone. It's all of them together.
I think for now, this is maybe somewhat of an overreaction. I mean, golf is a one-man sport. You're on your own. So I think that there are no egos in golf at all is just an incorrect assumption. So I mean, yeah, Patrick Reed, you're probably a dick, but you know what? I mean, you just got to do your thing. But I hope that he would be less of a dick in the future. But I don't understand what this issue is to the overall standards of golf.
The
guy won.
It might be great for golf, because if you have a complete asshole, and then you have Tiger Woods on his come up, and then you have the young group with Ricky Fowler and Jordan Spieth and all of them, I think it could be good for golf to have a villain. I mean, every sport needs a villain. You have the story that everyone's rooting for in Tiger, the villain in Reed, all come together. It could be very good for golf.
Yeah, so I don't see any issue here. I'll just universally agree Patrick Reed's a dick, and
yeah, I think that's everything we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us. This is David Matlock, and I'm Ryan Lipton. We're going to sign out for now, but before we do, please check out the JR Report. This is where this will be posted. Also, download the app Relevant. It is going to be amazing. It is up and coming. Just please check it out. This is also where the video will be. This is where our stuff will be posted as well on the mobile phone. Check it out. It's going to be an innovative and impressive app in the future.
Rah, rah, Carolina.